Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the OSU Mapcast. I'm Cinnabun, and in this episode, I'm with old and now new NAT Mao. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Nice. I'm doing really good. All right, so here, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Mao. I've been a mapper for the past 7 years, and a QT member and an NAT member for also like 5 years now. So yeah, that's
Nice.
me. I ranked a few maps.
Hello, Mao.
Hello.
All right, so here, getting to the first question. How did you first get into OSU?
I got into OSU in 2012 when a really good friend showed it to me. Like, he started playing it overnight and showed it to me the next morning. And I was like, hey, this looks like fun. And I was like 14 years old, so I wanted to belong and wanted to keep playing this game. Wanted to impress my friend, and yeah, I just got lost in it. I started playing it. Then I had some vacation and just played it non-stop basically for a few weeks.
Right. You're here forever.
Yeah.
And what are some things you do outside of OSU?
So technically I'm still a student, but I'm almost done with that. I study computer science, and I'm currently working at my own video game because I want to be a game designer. Also gonna continue studying game design. And
Oh, cool. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. Like, we're developing a prototype of a game right now. It's fun. Like, we have a deadline next week, so
Oh, can you say like what the game is about, or what kind of game is it?
it's gonna be a precision platformer of the likes of Celeste or Meat Boy or something like that. And it's also gonna be more like a serious game, like a game that deals with a certain topic to like get the player more into that specific topic. It's about germophobia. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like the fear of germs and shit. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's like the theme of the game we're working on. Pretty
That sounds
excited.
super cool. So it's like story based and all that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. It also coincidentally works pretty well with the current like situation around the globe.
You gotta add custom mask in the game.
That was like a coincidence, actually. Like, we
Are
planned
you
the
sure
game.
it was a coincidence?
Did we create the virus?
Guys, I have this sick new idea. Not inspired by anything that's happening right now.
I don't know. We had the idea in like January already, before like the whole thing went crazy. I knew it started in China, but I didn't hear about it until like earlier
I
this
see.
year. So it was completely like separate from that. We actually went to that topic from the mechanic.
Oh.
But besides gaming,
Yeah.
game development, what do I do other than that? I love spending time with friends. I mean, it's a bit limited at the moment because of that
Yeah.
situation. But yeah, I also love cooking. Like, I cook almost every day, like with fresh
Oh.
ingredients and everything. Really love that.
Have you ever cooked a Cinnabun?
No, I haven't. I'm really bad at baking, actually. Like, that's still my weak point.
But Cinnabun is so easy.
I can try if you give me a recipe.
Alright, I'll get that to you right after this. Alright, back to OC related stuff now. How did you get started into mapping?
Same person, actually. So I started mapping about not even a month after I started the game. So before I started OSU and everything, I was like pretty active in a ROM hacking community. I don't know if you know what that is, but you basically take a video game, in my case it was Super Mario World, and make your own levels and game
right.
out of it with some
Yeah.
sort of editor and coding. So I was always kind of interested in creating content for games and such things. So when I saw OT having an editor, and my friend, who was also from that same ROM hacking community, found out how to use it, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. And then, as I've said, like 14-year-olds are you want to be competitive, you want to belong, and
Right.
so kind of tried to get into it, and I showed my maps to other people, and they were like, yes. But yeah, that's basically how I came into mapping.
That's super cool. Does your friend still map, or like is still an Osu?
Oh yeah, they are actually BN. Like that, they're Mixo.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Dang. All right.
So yeah, we both kind of stayed in the community.
Dang, that was a long time. Did you did you have like any big struggles when you first got into mapping?
Yes. So as a like very new mapper, I was very convinced that my maps are really, really good, and and I wanted to submit them. Like, I actually submitted them and was like, when is this gonna be ranked? When are the people gonna look at the map and press
Not
the rank
if,
button?
when. Right.
So I waited and waited and waited for them to press the nominate button or the rank button. I had no idea what bubbles or ranks or anything really is. So, but it never came. And then the problem was that I was mainly active like in the very niche German player community. Like, I had a very close circle of friends, and they would always encourage me that my maps are great and good to play. So that would build some false confidence in me.
Circle jerking.
Yeah, basically. But they obviously had like no idea when it came to mapping, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't really contact people from the mapping community that like were like NATs, not NATs, BATs back then, or actual other ranked mappers. So I didn't really get any feedback and just stagnated for the first 10 months or something. So yeah, that was my biggest struggle, I'd say.
And so then how did you get over that?
I just started contacting people. Like, I remember when I started like getting more involved in the whole mapping thing and wanted to actually rank my maps, like when I started reading about bubbles and everything, I started contacting BATs and was like super scared. What would they think of my map? Is it okay or something? I think in general, like, pride and being scared of what the big people would think was like what slowed me down the most as a mapper back then.
I think like a lot of people will go through that because some people like, oh, BNs are intimidating.
Yeah, that's...
When they find out what NATs are, they're like, oh,
yeah, back then there were only the BAT, so I didn't have the struggle of like having two separate groups to contact. Right. So there was only the BAT, and I was like, oh my god, scary fancy red name. Oh no, don't eat my face.
And so what are some ways you've seen your mapping progress over like the many years?
Oh my god, that's been like 7 years, so it has obviously like been a whole lot of changes throughout these years. Also, not only in my mapping, but in the whole mapping meta.
Of course.
Like, so when I first started, I was mainly a player and was like inspired by maps from Satan. Is it Satan? That sounds wrong.
I thought it was Saturn.
Saturn. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but also Val and actually also Andrea, because I was like, yeah, symmetry. It looks so clean. This must be the best mapper ever.
This is it.
So yeah, I was inspired by those people at the beginning and made like very, very superficial maps, like maps that took the concepts from those maps that were like blatantly in your face, like symmetry patterns or something like that, without any real like context to the music. And that kind of changed over the years, like my whole priorities changed. I got a better grasp on rhythm and movement and everything. So I'd say like my real mapping style kind of started in 2014 when I started copying like the cool mappers during that time, like Elvis. I made a few collabs with him, or Hansa, like the popular mappers from there, like I copied them. But then I kind of had a change in 2016 where I got more inspired by older mappers and symmetry mappers. And I think that's actually a low in my mapping because I didn't really manage to grasp the ideas properly and just made symmetry patterns because, yeah, they look cool and I didn't really give them any relevance in the music. But then a year later, I tried to go back to my roots and go with a more freeform style, and that kind of developed over the years with other influences, newer mapping emerging and
Right.
everything. So I actually tried out a lot of different things. Like if you look at my library, I mapped so many different genres and everything, like also different styles of maps. I think that's
Yeah.
like a
So
lot
very
has
vast.
changed, but the main thing was like in terms of inspirations, I went from more freeform mappers like Val and Saturn and Elvis and Funzen to a more like structure and symmetry based style from Lotto or Chrism or Random Gibberish or people like that,
Crazy.
back to a Lekataline Pishifad inspired style that then mixed with my personal ideas and different inspirations throughout the years.
Dang, that's super cool. I just been discovering every time.
Yeah, it has been a journey.
And so, like, how did you start getting into like modding from mapping then? Like, you like, oh, I can do that too now.
Back then, the BAT people I asked always said things like, if you want to improve your mapping, start modding, because you'll see different approaches, you'll start understanding other maps and then can incorporate these concepts into your own mapping. And I think that has resonated with me quite a bit, because yeah, then I just started modding. I started a modding queue a little bit before that because Mixer also started one, so you have the competition thing again.
Right.
And yeah, so I think we actually did that together. I don't remember correctly, but yeah, I just
Collabed on a modding
started
queue.
doing it. Yeah, I mean there are people who do like modding queues together.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, if you have fun like modding together, I can recommend modding together. It's fun. Like, just go into a voice chat with somebody and look at a map, criticize it together, post stuff. Like, you can just add to each other's skills and also learn something from it.
Yeah, I can see that actually working really well. And did you always like want to join the BAT, or was that something that you just happened from modding?
I think it kind of like I don't even remember like fully how it happened. I remember that back in early 2014, Loctav became the community manager, and that's like around the time that I wanted to become a BAT, because I felt like it would be fun to just help people with their maps and get more involved in the system, also to improve personally. I thought it would be a good experience to do like modding on a quote-unquote professional level as a
Right.
BAT. And this feeling just kind of got stronger when I saw like a big wave of new bats, and there were people like that I actually knew, like Asphyxia. We've been friends before that, and I was like, I want to be in that position as well. So yeah, that just kind of
cute.
happened.
Nice. And how was like the process going from like BAT, well, like BN to QAT and that?
I think my process was kind of different than the one of most people. Like I remember, before I joined the BAT itself, it was like only the BAT, right? And
Right.
then in August of 2014, there happened a split that split the old BAT and the new BAT, which is basically now the BN, and the QAT, which was then the NAT. And I remember being promoted to like BAT. Like I just refreshed my page, didn't have a PM or anything, it was BAT. And then my progression to the QAT was also quite interesting. I remember getting a PM from Penn, or P3N, I don't know if you guys still know him, he's still in the GMT.
Okay.
He asked me if I'd be interested because they are seeking new QAT members, because the QAT needed like many people to keep up with all the qualified maps back then. and I said yes, and then 3 weeks later I was asked by Loctav if I want to join the QAT, and that was 2.5 months into me being BAT, so it was quite fast. BAT speedrun basically.
Just going at it.
It wasn't like very different from what I was doing as a BAT actually, because I ended up like popping lots of maps. Like back then the QAT would just go through all qualified maps and disqualify maps for both subjective and objective issues.
Right.
And as a BAT, I personally, I don't know why, but I ended up popping most of the bubbles I checked for either objective or subjective reasons. So it was like not a big difference in what I was already doing at that point.
That makes sense. And so what are like some other things you had like a part in changing or adding when you joined the QAT?
Oh my god, a lot actually. So let's see, like lots of stuff happened while I was QAT. I've been on the team for like 5 years in total, so let me think. So in 2016, like after all the asymmetry stuff in 2015 happened, the QAT kind of shifted away from checking all qualified maps. There was like kind of this transitional period where QAT were still allowed to check maps basically, and then it was more like, yeah, you can check whatever you want, but nobody really did anything. And then the first BN test came and all the QAT had to take it, and some of them failed, so suddenly half of the QAT wasn't allowed to nominate or disqualify maps anymore, so it stagnated even more. And then one day I went to Loctav and we had a talk about how we can just go on with the QAT. So we came up with a system where we would split the QAT into like subgroups that all have different roles. Like some people were meant to lead the ranking criteria changes, some people were meant to make BN tests, and I was one of the people who were like involved with BN test creation, and that's also a point that I have had a lot of influence on, because the first BN test was like a very unrealistic situation where you had like little snippets of maps and would have to point out what's wrong about them, while I made it into more of a system where you have an actual set that you would have to mod, like if you were a BN. So I had influence on that. Then I had influence on the tier split, but we are not going to talk about that one, do we?
Alright.
The BN tests, the BN tiers were not really received well. But
that's fair.
Yeah, I was also involved in that thing, and also in the creation of BN tests for that. We made like different tests for that, because the old BN tests were like more spotting single issues in the diss, and the tier 2 test was more about overarching issues between difficulties, like general issues.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then upheaval came. I didn't really have a big part in that, because I don't remember, I wasn't that active anymore around that time. But then when Okaratu quit, I became more active again and took the leader position together with JBH of the QAT. So I
what did that entail?
Leader position, like mostly organizational things for the NAT, also like getting new people into the team and everything. That's what it mostly was, like documentation, organization of meetings, getting rid of people when they're not doing what they're supposed to. But that didn't happen too often. Yeah, delivering bad news is generally a thing that is like still the job of the NAT to this date, and it has always been. Like when we add new people, it's always like, are you sure you want to be in this position? Are you sure? You will not be yourself anymore. You will be seen as the NAT, not as yourself anymore. Like that's a thing we tell people right before they join. We haven't had somebody who said no to that yet.
That's kind of hardcore though.
Yeah, but where was I?
You will lose all self.
So yeah, I became the leader of the NAT QAT back then, and I also created the QAH basically with the other QAT members, so the quality assurance helpers, because I felt like we had so many unrankables passing into ranked for like no reason, because nobody was checking the maps anymore after the QAT kind of stopped being the QAT as it was. And yeah, after that I just kept maintaining the system basically until we went and changed it again. So yeah, I was also involved in the creation of the NAT together with JBH, Mo and Ephemeral. So yeah, that change, I don't even remember completely why we did the change, but I think it was because the quality assurance team like had the stigma that they were not actually assuring quality. Like there were people who were complaining like, where's the quality assurance team? Why is this getting ranked? I'm so angry. And we were like, yeah, that's not the task of the quality assurance team anymore. Maybe we should rebrand it.
That makes sense.
So we went to the community and got a few opinions, got proposals, and then ended up writing the proposal for the NAT and basically implemented that system. And I kept maintaining that till like October of last year.
What are some of the proposals that didn't make it in?
There was one from Loctav actually that proposed cycles for QAT or NAT members. Like you would take a few people from the BN, make them NAT, and then after like 3 or 6 months you would take new people again. So yeah, that was one of the proposals. I don't remember if people really liked that one, but we didn't end up implementing it.
Right, obviously. Alright. Well, it's also like being NAT. You're also like known as the modding and mapping scene advisor. So what exactly is that for people who don't know? And like, what do you do?
It's kind of an arbitrary title. That's like, most people probably don't even know where to find it. You can find it if you click on like the team page and see the team listing. There are a few people who have this title. It's JBH, Mo, Okuratu, Pishafet, and I. And most of us got it from the position of being QAT or NAT leader, basically. So, and Pishi got it from doing all sorts of like mapper skilled stuff, like the organizational thing. So it's really more of a maintaining and organization management position, just like the QAT leader thing. That's basically people who are in the quote-unquote core OSU staff, OSU team, or however you want to call that,
I see.
and are involved with the mapping community.
Quite exclusive.
Yeah, it's quite the arbitrary title.
Nice. Okay, well, so back in back in 2019, you left the NAT. So what was like the reason for that break?
I had a pretty like rough mid-year, so I kind of lost some activity there. I tried to maintain it, but then in October I started an internship that was mandatory for my studies, and I also started writing my thesis to graduate. And
nice.
So I was like, yeah, I want to devote more of my time to that and my own projects. And
yeah, that makes sense.
So I thought that it would be better for me and better for the team if I took a break from the whole NAT thing.
And now you're back, so why did you come back? Not like in a rude way.
Well, you obviously don't want me back. I see how it is, Cinnabun.
We could have done better without you.
Oh my god. No,
I'm sorry, I'm joking.
No, it's mainly because I'm done with my thesis and the internship, so I have loads of free time on my hand during the next year. Also, I started like ranking quite a few maps this year, and recently I've found like that loads of PNs were like more inactive, and we didn't have many new PNs coming through, and I didn't know if it was like mainly because of NAT work or something. So I just wanted to get involved again, get a few applications done and everything to
Like we gotta
keep the
fix
system
that.
running.
Right. So then, like, do you still do kind of like what you did before, or like what do you do now as an AT?
I don't really do much management stuff anymore because during my absence, like the whole management thing kind of collapsed, I'd say. Like we had Ascendance as a like replacement for me, and Mo was also still doing the NAT leader stuff. But
Okay.
then there were like tons of meetings and they decided that they don't really need a leader for what they're doing anymore. So that whole thing kind of stopped. I mean, Mo is still like looking over some stuff and everything.
Right.
So he's like kind of, but not really. That's like his task in the NAT. But I'm like a normal like main NAT right now for the O standard mode. I'm just checking applications and evaluate BNs, like that kind of stuff.
Hey, that's cool. Getting back on the grind. And so you've also been with the mentorship program for quite a long time. So why did you want to become a mentor, and like how did you get into doing that?
I think it actually started with Yui. I don't know if people remember Yui, but he was one of the main organizers together with Okaratu back then. And he asked me if I wanted to become a helper for the system. Like, helpers were what organizers are basically now on the system. So
Okay.
it has been like 4 years, so I don't really remember correctly what happened there, because I was never like really involved with the system because I had all the other stuff in the NAT and QAT back then. So yeah, I just kind of became a mentor because I was like, yeah, why not? Why shouldn't I help new people? But I didn't have like the best experiences with new people on the system. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, most of them just quit like after a week or two, and I was like, how am I supposed to mentor you if you don't want to map?
SMH. So did you say it's gotten better now?
Yes, I mean, I have accepted like mostly experienced mappers and people that I've like seen in the community before now, so I'm pretty much sure that they're gonna map. Like that was my biggest issue. Like they did not map.
Right. I mean, 'cause, like you're just wasting your time if they don't want to do anything.
Exactly. Like we didn't really have anything to go over and improve on if they didn't create anything for me to evaluate or to give them lessons on.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And also, sort of like being in the game for such a long time and progressing from BAT to QAT, NAT, all that. And since you've been in the community for such a long time, what's like your favorite part about it, and like what keeps you staying here?
I like that it's like always changing and that there are always new people in the community, and I've like met so many great people along the whole journey that I'm still friends with. Like I have still friends from back in 2013, but I also like met new people every single year on the game. I think that's something I value a lot, and like even people who are closer than normal friends.
Right. That's cute.
And I've also
And,
met some of them in real life, which
Oh
is
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, like I've met quite a few people from the German community, but also from outside of Germany. So,
Have you been to like Koei and stuff like that, or?
no, I have not. I don't know if I will go there at some point because I'm personally not like the guy for big convention things.
Convention, yeah.
I mean, I
That makes
kind of
sense.
am, but I don't know if Korea would be like too much because especially I'm not very involved in the whole player community thing, and there are loads of players and everything. And
Ah, right.
so yeah, I prefer like smaller meetups with people like, that I actually like know more personally.
We need to have a mapping Koei for mapping.
Could do that actually.
Interesting. So like on the opposite of that, then what is like? Are there any things you dislike about the community?
I think it's mostly like the toxicity in it sometimes, like especially in the mapping community, you have people who have so strong opinions on what other people are making. Like, I think it's important that you're still respectful towards everyone in the community, or like mostly
Right.
everyone. And
You would hope so.
yeah, the thing is that I don't really like seeing like all the hate some people are getting just because they're making maps that they enjoy and other people enjoy as well. So I'm more one of those people who is like, yeah, if you don't enjoy a map, just ignore it, but don't get mad about it. It's just a waste of your energy in the end.
Right. It's just circles on a screen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the worst part about it is when people like can't really differentiate between the maps people made and the actual person behind like the mapper. Like if they say I don't like this person because they make maps I don't like, that's that's questionable.
Yeah. That makes sense. We just gotta get over that.
Yeah, but I think that's something that's not like really gonna go away. That's something we gotta live with in the community. And also
Yeah.
like one of the things is like the toxicity in comments below maps. Especially when you have like players who are not even close to the target audience of your map. Like if you have a 6-star map and then somebody who's like rank 1 million comes and says this is too hard or something, or this is shit because I can't
Right.
pass it or something. But
Yeah,
that's
just give it a
like,
few years.
that's just normal symptoms of a community this large, I'd say. So it's nothing to really worry about. It's just something that can be annoying at points.
Yeah, that makes sense. And since what kind of like big changes in the community have you seen over time, or like the way it's progressed from like the beginning?
I mean, that's a difficult one to answer because I've started the game as a 14-year-old and I'm 21, close to 22 right now. So obviously, like my whole mindset towards the community has changed as well. And this is actually something I notice sometimes now because you see, like, I was like the age group, like the main age group of OSU a few years ago, and now like there are so many people who are younger than me. Well, back then were like mostly people who were older than me, so like my whole
Right.
perception has changed like a lot.
Become a grandpa.
Oh my god, don't call me that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, so I think one of like the biggest events, like community related, was when like PewDiePie made his Osu video. Like we got a huge influx of players and also loads of younger players.
Dang.
So yeah, that was crazy back then. So the community has grown a lot. Like I don't
Definitely.
know if my perception was different, but especially the toxicity thing changed over the years. Like I felt like when it was smaller, it wasn't as toxic, especially in map comments. But might just be my perception or like my memories, like not showing
fair.
up the bad things anymore.
Right. Nostalgia's keeping you safe.
Yeah, probably.
And are there any things like you'd like to see changed in Osu, or like ways?
Yes, totally.
And what are some of those?
In general, the way like the connection between developers and the mapping community is something that I would love to see change. Like, when was the last major update the editor and stable got? I don't even know.
I
Because
definitely don't know.
I feel like if you'd open a build from like 2014, you'd probably have like exactly the same features, and it's always like, yeah, laser, and then yeah, I don't really trust in that too much, to be
What do you
honest.
think the editor is lacking?
Many things, like especially things people wrote tools for, like external tools, like a hit sound copy option would be amazing, like merging sliders together, also different slider types, like go crazy with it, introduce new things to mapping that could change the whole meta completely. It would be pretty cool to have like just like see the editor progress from something.
Have that like overhaul.
Yeah, exactly. Like even back then, people got quality of life changes. Like, there were times where you had no rotation or scale option, stuff like that. Even like minor quality of life improvements would be great. Like, actually implement Nexus's modding Napster verifier into the game.
Oh, I love that tool.
Stuff like that would just be epic. Like, when you have people writing external tools for your thing, you know that you probably need to work on it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, sometimes there are like external tools that do stuff that's not really intentional. Like, what is it called? Sliderator.
Right.
I don't know, but there are definitely things that could just be like an integral part of the editor.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But as I've said, I'd also love for them to like add new cool stuff. Like, also even additional drum sample sets for hit sounds or something would be cool. Like, more default
True.
sample sets, different slider options. I know people hate hold notes, so I'm not gonna bring that one up. Yeah.
Slider accuracy.
Yeah, let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So this is the golden question now. What is your go-to advice as an NAT for newer mappers?
So, if you don't want to end up like me and waste 10 months of your mapping journey just making stuff you believe is good, but then actually notice that it's absolute rubbish, go to experienced mappers and ask them for opinions. Most people don't buy it. Most people are glad to help you if you're a new mapper. So yeah, also don't be discouraged if they ghost you. Sometimes they're just busy. Just try again at some point.
That's true.
Yeah, I sometimes ghost people on accident and then reply like 3 days later if I see it.
Ghosted me on the episode. Dang it.
Yeah, it happens. Like, don't be discouraged. Like, most people in the mapping community are genuine nice people, so...
Definitely.
Yeah, and also, like, another important thing is to draw inspirations from other mappers. Don't, like, start right away trying to make your own thing. Try to look at what others did. Try to copy them. Like, not even copy them completely. Just get inspired and make something out of that. And also, one of the, in my opinion, most important things in mapping is that get the basics down first before you start like experimenting with a crazy style. Like, don't start with tech mapping, don't start with, as much as I hate the term, movement mapping, start making the most basic maps you can. You have to get done the fundamentals before being able to exaggerate them in form of your own style or some crazy mapping techniques. Like, get the fundamentals down, please.
Of course.
And map. Just map.
Just map.
How much is possible, like as much as possible. Just go there, open the editor. Doesn't matter if you finish the maps. Just get practice. Just map, and get feedback for those maps and incorporate that into your new maps.
Of course. Nice. All right, and for people who want to learn slider biology.
Slider biology. Yeah,
What do you have to say for that?
buy PC and my book of slider biology. You can
Does
learn
it include
about
slider physics or no?
You have to ask Amelia for that.
Okay.
But
Next guest, Amelia.
but yeah, slider biology. Oh my god, that actually happened.
For people who don't know what that is, you mind explaining it?
I think it happened after I wrote like a program that could create spiral sliders for me, and I fucked up something in the code and it made a slider that when you CTRL-G it, like change the the head and tail of the slider, it would change the shape every single time I do it. So it was like seriously broken. And I sent a gif of that to Pishifan, and he was like, cell division or something in sliders, and I was like, slider biology, we should write a book on that.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. I can send you the screenshots of that.
Sure, we'll put it on screen. Alright, and so coming to a close here, any final things you want to mention, talk about, or people to shout out?
So first of all, Noffy. I'm
Heck
pretty
yeah.
sure, Noffy, that I am younger than you are, so please don't call me an old man. And then...
Mao's the grandpa, Nafi's the grandma.
I can live with that because you're new. Other than that, I would like to shout out all my friends, Altai, everyone on Yukia's server,
Heck yeah.
everyone on Mir's server, the whole NAT, and like everyone who's been like a great friend to me during my journey at Osu. Also
that's
Pen,
really sweet.
also Pen for like believing in me to become a bat and a QAT and everything.
Heck yeah, Pen. Alright, so we've come to the final question, the main one, if you will. Will you nominate my map?
Well, that depends on one very, very important quality standard of mine. Does it have a furry background?
It can.
It can.
It can.
You're driving a hard bargain here. So maybe...
What about a storyboard with 2 furry backgrounds?
Okay, deal.
Heck yeah, let's go. Alright, this has been episode 14. Thank you for Mao for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Hello.
And and thank you for listening. You know the drill. If you liked this episode, please do leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you didn't like it, then let us know how we can improve. All feedback, of course, is appreciated. And yeah, bye.